Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You are here in the home of the slightly above average ship review. Got the Ise in early access. I finally managed to get all of the Japanese battle carriers out of the crates. I'm just going to tell you that I normally have pretty good success with drop rate on crates, and these ones I absolutely did not. But I finally did get them after a judicious application of my wallet, and we're going to bring them to you here on the channel, although I don't know if they'll still all be in early access by the time you see all the videos. So we already did the Aki. The Ise is the beginning of the line, starts at tier 6. We're on, I think this is called Mountain Range. Anyway, the Ise is widely regarded as the worst of the battle carriers in the Japanese fleet. As you can see, we have 4 turrets. Basically, Ise is a sister ship of Hyuga, and so they removed the last 2 turrets and covered it with a flight deck. As you can see, there's a catapult to each side. We're going to talk more about the Ise in just a second. All right, lead ship of her class. Completed in 1917, played no role in World War I. Modernized in 2 stages from 28 to 29 and 31 to 32, during which her forward superstructure was built in the pagoda mast style, which you can see is there on the ship right there. Minor role in the Sino-Japanese War, considered obsolete by the eve of the Pacific War. Mid-1942, following the loss of most of the Japanese Navy's aircraft carriers during Midway, she was rebuilt with a flight deck. Lack of aircraft and qualified pilots meant that Ise never actually operated aircraft in combat. Participated in the Battle of Cape Engano, decoyed the American carrier fleet away from the landing beaches of Leyte. Participated in Operation Kita in early 1945, which is basically transporting materials to Japan. Sunk basically at anchor in reserve in July of 45, and then scrapped immediately after the war. So you've got to show a little bit of broadside. It's not terrible. I may have done some thing earlier where I showed you using the turret traverse or whatever. The angle which you have to go to get, and it's not that far off from where we're at right here, so actually a lot better forward gun angles than I thought for the second set of turrets. But make no mistake, this is not Hyuga at all. Don't think you're getting Hyuga's punching power with this ship. You're absolutely not. It is not great, and it's even not great in battle carrier form. Here I am with my airstrike kind of looking for a target. Not really finding a great one just yet. But I will say that of my matches in the Ise, this has been the best match. So Catalonia stupidly turns broadside to us. That seems dumb. But then, you know, we're going to look in here at the shell grouping. Not spectacular. We don't get a Citadel hit, even though it was flat broadside. So, you know, I guess he just decided it doesn't matter. I think that aircraft drop, I think there's another ship back there that I thought was headed this way, and that's why I did that, and it may have been a bad idea. All right. Enemy Ise, we're going to light him up full broadside, full salvo. There's the Indianapolis. We missed all our torpedoes. I think he went inside of the drop before they went active. Meanwhile, off screen, our shots on the Ise really didn't do a whole lot. Why was I stopping here? Oh, maybe to shoot at the Ise. We're going to speed back up. And when I say speed back up, I mean that like we're going to try to speed back up, but it's very bad start-stop. We're going to shoot again at the Catalonia. Ise is near death. And we do get a Citadel hit on Catalunya, take him out for our first kill. All right, we got an Indianapolis over here. We've still got the enemy Ise, and we've got the Iowa. So obviously we're down here, and so going up against the Iowa is not preferred if I can avoid it. Here, we're going to hope these shells make it over the mountain against the Indianapolis. Whether they actually do or not, I wasn't paying attention. Well, we hit them with one shell, but I'm going to say I don't think they really did. I think most of the shells hit the mountaintop. All right, here's the enemy Ise. We're going to shoot our airstrike at him. You do put out a lot of torpedoes in the airstrike. They don't do a ton of damage. I remember in a previous game, maybe I may have had like 10 or 11 torpedo strikes and hardly any damage. So just keep that in mind. We only have to do a little bit of damage to the Ise to take him out. And even that was not enough. 3 torpedo strikes did not do enough damage to take out Ise. But we took him out the old-fashioned way. All right, engaging a heel here. We still got the Iowa, and we still got the Indianapolis. I'm turning in to reduce the amount of people I have to deal with to 1. By turning in, we dodge torpedoes. Well, the Indianapolis doesn't have torpedoes. The Iowa doesn't have torpedoes. Those must have been from the enemy Ise. An airdrop, maybe, and I just don't... Whatever. We turned in. They totally missed. All right, so now let's see how Ise performs against a higher tier battleship. I can tell you how the Ise performs against higher tier battleships. Not great. All right, thankfully somebody damages the Iowa. We're going to go just above the armor belt, hopefully, and do a little bit of damage. We did have to turn against our turrets, so the rear turrets are coming around. The Ise has Miyogi type dispersion, and I don't mean whatever number Wargaming lied and put on the stats for the ship. I mean in actuality, you can see some of these salvos and the shells are all over the place. Now the Iowa turns into all our torpedoes. 3 torpedo strikes on the Iowa, and we've reduced him down, and he's healing. But if you can use your torpedoes to augment your damage and make ships turn the way you want them to turn, it's going to be easier to pile up that damage. Turret gets knocked out there. Yes, I found these turrets to be fragile, easily knocked out. We're going to continue to shoot above the armor belt into the superstructure of the Iowa. And there was a pretty good hit, and I've resigned myself that somebody else is going to take out the Iowa, even though I did all the hard work. And yes, that's exactly what happened. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. We got a couple of kills. We got an assisted kill. We got a Citadel hit on someone. And we're just going to try to chase down the Indianapolis here. So waiting for our last turret to load, hoping he will turn more broadside. And then I said, hey, wait a minute. What if I use my airdrop to make him turn away I want him to turn? And now I don't think this actually works. But maybe if your opponent is smarter, it might work the way you wanted it to. Anyway, we get a Citadel hit through the rear of the Iowa and take him out for kill number 3. Is it true we're sniffing a Kraken in the Ise? Well, if we had finished off the Iowa, we'd be at 4 kills. And really, we did a lot of the damage to the Iowa. So I'm going to reluctantly say that even down here, yes, with the right matchup, the Ise does appear to be Kraken capable. But don't hold your breath. Do not hold your breath. I've played about 10 matches in this thing, and I would rate it up there with Miyogi in terms of its shell grouping value. Now here I was engaging in a flight of fancy, navigating to where I thought the aircraft carrier might have relocated to, and this was dumb. I should have just headed towards Alpha at full speed. So I kind of took myself out of the battle here. And match may have ended a little bit differently if I hadn't done this. But because I'm an idiot. You notice how they tell everybody else to get back, but nobody tells me to get back? It's because they're not counting on the Ise to do anything meaningful in this battle. What I've already done is just like so bonus time. They're just like, oh, the Ise got 3 kills. He's probably dead. There's no need to ask him to do anything else. He can't do anything else. His reach already exceeded his grasp. Well, that may or may not be true. All right, we got a Colorado. We're not in gun range. Our main battery range with this build is 17.1. All right, so now we're in gun range. So the Colorado's going to do me a solid and give me a good bit of broadside. Here, although this is not an ideal angle, I'm just going to do a drop on Cherbourg to kind of force him to come out or stay back. Colorado's still kind of turning a little bit. We've got an angle. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Looks like he's flattening out, so we'll shoot again. Meanwhile, our torpedo strike, we do get 2 torpedoes on the Cherbourg, which accomplished little. And I did not want to go in front of the island because it would reduce my guns on target. Although I know that there's a gigantic rock in our way here in a minute. I really wanted to get these shots out on Colorado. I probably did not aim that as well as I should have. But there were some hits there. Turning our attention back to Cherbourg, almost dead. And perhaps if he had come forward, we could have shot at him. Here we take a shitload of damage from Colorado. And I wasn't really offering him the greatest angles, so I'm confident in saying the armor of the Ise is not spectacular. Colorado gets taken out, so we're not going to get that kill. All right, but we are over 100,000 damage. While you watch the rest of the match, I'm going to talk about the modernization and conversion to aircraft carrier of the Ise. All right, the loss of 4 Japanese aircraft carriers during the Battle of Midway meant that they settled on removing the rear pair of turrets from the Ise-class ships and replacing them with a flight deck equipped with 2 rotating catapults. The commander was relieved. 5 and 6 turrets were replaced by a hangar surrounded by a flight deck. 2 catapults were installed and the existing crane was moved to the flight deck. The deck was fitted with an extensive system of rails to link each catapult, the storage positions on the deck, and the T-shaped aircraft lift that moved aircraft between the flight deck and the hangar. At a capacity of 9 aircraft, the remainder being stored on deck and 1 on each catapult for a total of 22 to 24. They were intended to be Yokosuka D4Y Susei dive bombers. I really wish they would use the Allied reporting names. Those are Judy's. And the Aichi reconnaissance aircraft known as Paul. The Aichi could land back aboard if it landed in the water next to the ship, get hoisted on by a crane. The Judy bombers, those would have to land on a conventional carrier or a land base in order to be recovered. All right, we are trying to get shots out at the Enterprise, who was nowhere near where I thought he might be. Our shells are going to fall just short. Maybe if I had used the flag that increases main battery range, I could have gotten out there, but we're not going to get out there. So basically, what you're seeing here is a very odd thing that probably wouldn't have been any good, mostly because it can't recover its own planes. Kind of like you use once and then Hope you're out of the battle by then. So, I mean, while I don't have a problem with the implementation, it it would be slightly more interesting if once you launched 24 planes, you didn't have any left, like there was no recharge. You just had the number and that was it. But maybe that mechanic is too difficult for Ouija to add in. I don't know. It would certainly make planning out your airstrikes a lot more strategic. Although that being said, I don't know that we've launched a ton of airstrikes in this game. So either or. All right, here we are on the victory screen. 107,929 total damage, 50 main battery hits, 8 torpedo strikes, a couple of hand job medals and or hand job ribbons, 3 kills, 2 hits to Citadel. We ended up with 321,642 silver, 7,800 chip XP, 8,300 commander XP in the Ise, using the special commander Jizaburo Ozawa. All right, we are number 3 on the board, 2570 base XP, 3 big kills. Officially a good game in the Ise. Good game to the Harlem, who's kind of ahead of me on the map. Ganai's now finished at the top of the board. All right, let's go back into the port and take a look at the Ise. And there's absolutely no reason to get these ships in early access by Craig Gambling. There isn't. All right, fully upgraded ship in early access. We went with aiming system mod 1. Desperately needed. Damage control system mod 2. Again, I wouldn't use anything else. Concealment system mod 1. And we've got all of the hull upgrades and everything. Got HE, AP, and aerial torpedoes. Unlimited charges of the damage control party, 3 charges of the repair party, 3 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting. We were running the Epic Ship XP booster. We applied the IJN premium permanent camouflage because the ship didn't come with camouflage, and the 3-year strong flag. 65,310 hit points, a 26% torpedo damage reduction, and a 40% fire resistance with our build. That 40% is way up from the base value. There you can see those Paul aircraft we talked about, the Aichi M6A2. 2,800 hit points. There are 3 per attack flight, and they drop 2 torpedoes each for a total of 6 torpedoes. I know you can do math. Max damage just 4,007. The torpedoes have a range of 3 knots at 40 knots in the water, or 3 kilometers at 40 knots in the water. So they're slow and they don't have a great range. All right, main battery, 4 twin 356 millimeter turrets, 17.7 kilometer firing range, 28.9 second reload, 34.6 second turn time, shell grouping value of 2. That's great. The dispersion is terrible. It says it's slightly worse. It's really bad. HE shells 5,700 max damage, 25% fire chance. Pen 59 millimeters of armor. AP shells 10,200 max damage. Pen 697 millimeters at point blank range, and 362 millimeters at max range. And as you can see, a chunk got taken off there, about 10%. All right, and the fuse arm at 59 millimeters. Secondary battery, the very high number, don't believe that. You got 8 twin 127s, shoot out to 5.2 kilometers, reload every 6 seconds. The shell grouping value is 1. Dispersion, all slightly better than base. HE shells do 2,100 max damage with an 8% fire chance, and pen at 21 millimeters of armor. AA defense. So you've got a bunch of different AA here. Your secondaries are dual purpose. Your best AA in terms of damage is these 25 millimeter 31 by 3 mounts that do 327 damage per second. They shoot out to 3.1 kilometers. Your longest reaching AA are these 120 millimeter rockets. I didn't know we had rockets in the game, but these rocket pods shoot out to 4.8 kilometers. So you can see you have 630 rocket emplacements. So they don't do a lot of damage. All right, max speed 24.5 knots, so really slow. It is a dreadnought battleship. Turning circle 750 meters. Concealment 11.8 on the surface, 9.9 from the air, 12.7 if you ever find yourself in a smoke screen. Taking a look at the stats: 10 matches, 4 wins. Pardon me, 6 wins, 4 losses. Main battery accuracy just 36%. So they can tell you it has a 2 shell grouping value all day long. I don't believe that. We're averaging 1 kill and just under 68k damage per match. As stated, the last match you saw was our best match. And it doesn't have great armor. It doesn't. So this should be, in theory, the same armor for the most part as the Hyuga. You can see you got this really wacky looking citadel, which is different thickness plates all over the place. Put the bow back on. If I can ever find it, it's 32 millimeter, 24, 26. All right, I really don't know what I'm talking about this morning. The torpedo plating does kind of act as spaced armor here. We're going to put on this armor belt here, casemate armor, and your armor belt goes up to 299. And then the torpedo plating covers all of that, so that may act as a spaced armor. Turrets, the barbettes are less heavily armored down into the casemate. And they do get disabled frequently, in my opinion. So armor's not great, although the spaced armor stuff kind of looks helpful. If I could ever figure out what I'm doing and go to the flight deck here. 26 millimeter flight deck. All right, that is the armor profile of the Ise. Quickly looking at lives, Wargaming tells, exposed, sure, airstrike, sure, whatever. I mean, here's the commander, Jizaburo Asawa. Base trait, Ghost Fleet maneuver, reduce the airstrike cooldown time. You know, I've heard there are people who aren't even using this guy on these ships. We used Kondo for concealment and John Fisher for range and reload. Your mileage can vary on all that stuff. Row number 1, Agile Seagull, traverse and rudder shift time. Row 2, Bird's Eye View, increases the main battery and attack range of the airstrike. Firefighter in row 3, Iron Feathers in row 4, and our legendary skill is Fight Fire with Fire. A quick note, Hidden Hand, I just didn't feel the minuses of Hidden Hand were worth this trade-off. So that is why I chose not to use Hidden Hand and chose Iron Feathers instead. Anyway, that is the Ise. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. I'll see you on the next video.